Good afternoon, kings and queens of Father's glorious nation. Today, we're simply going to praise Father's glorious name, or at least we're going to remember how to praise His name when we're going through trials and tribulations, when we're finding ourselves going through certain transitions and transforming into to individuals and new, better versions of ourselves, and then having to learn those new learning how just having to learn the new you in a sense, and having to go through the trials and tribulations of learning the new you and all of the changes that come with it. Excuse me. We're going to start in the book of Psalms, chapter 71, verse 20 through 21. Though you have made me see troubles, many and bitter, you will restore my life again. From the depths of the earth you will bring me up. You will increase my honor and comfort me once more. From the depths of the earth you will bring me up, meaning from hell He will arise you, ascend you to heaven, meaning all that you are going through is not in vain, because at the end of the day, every beginning often looks like the end. Every new beginning often looks like the end. Every single time you go through a certain change or a transition, a loss, or just not even really a loss, sometimes just a promotion or elevation, everything just changes. Sometimes it's not even really a negative transition, sometimes it's a positive transition. But with that positive transition, sometimes it's hard to see the positivity in it, in a sense, because when you're focusing on one small aspect of the picture, you don't see, when you're focusing on one little piece of the puzzle, you're not looking over at the bigger picture. You're not looking over at what the big picture is going to eventually look like. All you're looking at is these couple of pieces that you haven't figured out how to put together yet. Without referencing the bigger picture, you will not understand where you are within the puzzle of life that you are trying to put together right now. And in order to understand what the bigger picture looks like, you have to connect with Father God. You have you have to be humble enough to understand that though you have felt alone for so long, though you felt alone in your growth on the physical plane for so long, you've gone through so many different trials and tribulations, so many different traumas, so many different things that you have gone through, that so many different things that you've gone through, that some situations only you and the other individual knows of it, or certain things that you've gone through that only you have experienced, only you have had that traumatic feeling or that traumatic reaction behind it, and it's like only you it takes you to a place where it takes you to a place of growth where it will either make you or break you. It will either take your sanity or it will force you to grow. And in moments like that, you are alone. And it's hard when you become so closed off, in a sense, because in a sense, to grow past that physically and mentally, you close a certain section of yourself off. You kill a certain part of yourself away, and in doing that, you create a deeper void, and by creating that deeper void, you become lost in that void. And in order to come out of that void, and in order to allow yourself to be found once more, you have to focus on the light. You have to focus on the humility and on the being humble and understanding that you don't have to live there. You don't have to live in that negativity. You don't have to live in that depression. You don't have to live in that anxiety. I've lived through it all for like 25 years straight. I say 25 years straight because it genuinely felt like that. I ain't even gonna lie. I can say a good solid 20 years at least, though. I can say a good solid 20 years of just pure depression, bipolar depression, anxiety, panic attacks, you name it. I've gone through it mentally. It mentally, emotionally. A lot of these things my family don't even really know about because that's just the area that I was at in my life growing. So a lot of these things I learned to depend on myself to get through. And what I had to realize and what God has shown me is that it's never, ever just me. No matter how much you think you pull on your own strength, it is not you. It is God. It is always God. And the more that you realize that it's not you that you're leaning on, the more that that weight you feel begins to lift, the more that that weight begins to feel like a feather. And the more that you begin to feel light again, because you realize that, you're not alone. You really are not alone. No matter how much this physical world will drag you down and try to destroy you, always understand that you are not alone. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. This means that you are not this flesh. Although you are pulled down and dragged down by your emotions, you are not your emotions. Anything that you wish to achieve, you can achieve it. And even if that means overcoming self, even if that means having to get past your own way, get out of your own way, get out of your own path. Have the courage to push. Have the courage to be real with yourself. Have the courage to sit down and be honest and sit down with God and be like, okay, Father, I've tried this, I've tried that, I done did this, I done did that, and just, Lord, I throw in the towel. I can't say I give up on life, but good Lord, I don't know what else to do after this point. Which brings us back around to the reset, divine reset that we were speaking on. These particular conversations lead to resets, which leads to certain things, certain aspects of your lives to be changed. In order to get different, you have to do different. So as God is bringing this different and new into your life, flow with it. No matter how much it confuses you, no matter how much you're just iffy about it, just flow with it. Allow yourself to kind of flow and figure out exactly the path that God is taking you on. And allow yourself to figure out exactly what God's plan is specifically for you. And along with that, I say that to say that after today, up until September 2nd, I will be social media silent, meaning that I will be doing no worship Wednesdays for the entire month of August. Meaning I won't be back on the platform. I won't be back on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, nowhere until September 2nd. And it was actually came by surprise to me. Like, of course, y'all know I just recently started my job, and a lot of other things are occurring. A lot of different changes are occurring, and me, the type of individual I am, I'ma push through it. I will always, no matter what it is, if I feel like I need to do it for God, then I'm gonna do that for God. And I'll be honest, it was pulling on me. It was draining me. But at the end of the day, my thing is, I don't care what I'm going through physically. If anything, a physical ailment just looks like a challenge or a battle to me, and therefore I try to push it away. But in pushing it away, it continuously drained me. So what Father had to kind of break down to me now, he just spoke to me in the sense of saying, you have accepted your divine reset. You have accepted that it's time for you to change. You have accepted that change has come. So now grow with it. I need you to understand who you are now, who you are growing to be. And in order to understand who I'm growing to be, I have to be alone with God. Meaning, I can't not a lot. I can't say I put a lot, but I try to focus on a message. Anytime I'm doing a message, anytime I do a Monday message or a worship message or just posted something, I always try to think of the deeper aspect of it. I always try to think of how would I react to this post. So I'm always thinking. I've always got something going on in my brain. It's like I'm always thinking, and I think so much to the point that I overthink. And I don't want to and everywhere that we're going now, everywhere that Father God is transitioning us into now, being that it's like being from all of the negative, we're now being switched and transitioned to all of the positive. So it's like now that we're being transitioned into all of the positive, it's like God is now saying, I need you to take a step back and sit alone with me so you can focus and see exactly what I need you to do along this path. And after that, you can go ahead, go back free. But for right now, I need you with me. So if you feel like God is telling you the same exact thing, or just in a sense of saying just I need some alone time with you, I need some of your attention, give God your attention. You never know where he's going to take you. And until then, y'all, I just pray that y'all have a divinely God-willed and God-filled blessed journey. I will miss you an entire month of August, but until then, September 2nd. I love y'all, and God bless.